Chapter 1. The Nature, Power, and Limitations of Apologetics. We are writing this book because we have been besieged with requests for it. We both teach philosophy of religion at Boston College, and students often ask us where they can find a book that lists, outlines, or summarizes all the major arguments for all the major Christian teachings that are challenged by unbelievers today, such as the existence of God, the immortality of the soul, the trustworthiness of Scripture, and the divinity and resurrection of Christ, and answers the strongest and commonest objections against these doctrines. We were amazed to find that no such book exists. There are thousands of books on apologetics, and some very good ones, but not one of them summarizes apologetic arguments as Aquinas summarized theological arguments in his Summa Theologiae and Summa Contra Gentiles. This book is written to begin to fill that vacuum. We even thought of titling it Summa Apologetica, but our publisher wisely rejected that title as unmarketable. Comparison with Aquinas' Summas may seem arrogant, even ludicrous, but we mean it to refer to the genus, not the genius, of Aquinas' works. There were many Summas, or summaries, in the Middle Ages, which condensed many arguments into a small space, carefully organizing and succinctly explaining them. A Summa is meant to function as a digest or mini-encyclopedia. It need not be read in order from beginning to end. It can be used as a reference book or handbook. That genus is at least as useful today as it was in the Middle Ages, for two reasons. For one thing, we moderns, like the medievals, respect scientific order, clarity, rationality, and structure. It is a popular but wholly indefensible myth that the medieval mind was unscientific, irrational, unquestioning, vague, or crude. If anything, it was rational to a fault. It was the mind of a librarian positively reveling in order. The second reason is that we moderns are all terribly busy, though our technology should give us great leisure, and we want time-saving devices, digests, and bottom-line summaries. Yet that desire is not fulfilled in modern apologetics. The contents of that noble art are usually diffused, not collected. Most apologetics books make 10 points in 50 pages. This book aims to make 50 points in 10 pages. One point of comparison with a medieval Summa, then, is the genus, summary. A second is that, like a Summa, it is written for beginners, as Aquinas said in the preface to his Summa Theologiae. That is, for a general audience, rather than for a scholarly and specialized one. It means to bridge the gap between the scholarly and the popular, which so sadly divides and weakens modern theology and philosophy. A third point of comparison with a medieval Summa is the division into small, bite-sized chunks. This follows from the previous point. Since we are beginners, we need, but seldom get, the aid of clear outlining, numbering, and divisions. Descartes was right in this, at least. The second step of his famous method notes that a difficult problem is made much easier by analyzing it into smaller pieces and steps, and taking each one by one. The fact that this book is so carefully outlined, however, will count against it in some people's minds. There will be some readers and reviewers who will accuse us of black and white thinking, simply because we argue logically about religion. They will trot out epithets like narrow, simplistic, cut and dried, and rationalistic, because they mistakenly assume 1. That religion must be irrational, and 2. That to write clearly is to ignore mystery. About reason. They probably pick up this latter assumption from reading 20th century philosophy. Philosophy in our century is seldom both clear and profound, both respectful of reason and respectful of mystery at the same time, as medieval philosophy was. Throughout this century, the English Channel has divided two philosophical styles more deeply than did the Iron Curtain. We find clarity at the expense of profundity in most of the